back to JD Mods. Today we're on the way to the Shannonville racetrack. We are in the EP3 and we are going to a track day today to race the EP3 for the very first time. And I know a lot of you guys have also been excited for a pulls video since doing the K24 Sidewinder turbo setup. So we're going to do this video for that as well. We're about half an hour away, then we just have to get all set up, and then we'll do lots of in-car and out-of-car driving videos. It's a private event that we're going with around 20 people, kind of like an open lap day. We're just lapping around the track. So hope you guys enjoy the video, and hopefully the Civic does good on the track. Saved it. Get better, save it if you had to. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey guys, so that clip you just saw, Ali took of me driving in my Civic. That was just one of probably 15 laps we did that track day. Unfortunately, it was raining, so I wasn't able to fully push the car to its limits. I still did, and I spun out multiple times. Let me put a clip in of me spinning out right now. Nice. So as you can see, the Civic had a lot of fun at the track, spun out a bunch of times. I still was able to hit a pretty good top speed on the straightaway, even in the rain. I think it was still around 180-ish kilometers an hour on a small straightaway in the rain before a turn. So I had a lot of fun pushing my cars to its limits. A few things I'd like to mention. It had a issue on the very first lap where the fuel pump in the tank under the seat, the little hose that connects the fuel pump to the hanger fell off. There was a barb connection, and I guess the fuel expanded the line, and then there was no hose clamp on it, so it just fell right off. So at the track, I didn't have any hose clamp, so I just zip tied it together, and that got me through the rest of the track day as well as a 3-hour ride home. So I got pretty lucky there, I would say. And what else happened? That was pretty much it. Some of the lines got really hot due to my Sidewinder turbo manifold. Nothing I could do about that at the track. We pretty much only did 3 laps at a time, then cooled off. So about 5 minutes of racing and 15 minutes of cool off for 4 hours straight. So when I got home, a 3-hour drive from the track to home, I pretty much looked at all my lines and had to replace probably 5 or so lines. They were pretty much vacuum lines and one water line that got really hot. The vacuum line, one of them melted through. My boost gauge stopped working because what happened is the line melted shut, so it just held a vacuum on my boost gauge. So that was no good. But all in all, great day at the track. And just because this video is still rather short, I thought I would show you guys, this is the weekend after. I'm pretty much just gonna try and fix a boost leak that developed at the track in today's video, and show you guys just a few tips and tricks on how I'm going to fix this boost leak. So I installed these new boost gauges. These gauges here are glow shift gauges. The top one's my oil pressure. The car's off right now, so you can see it's obviously 0. Then here's my boost gauge. Fairly accurate. You can see right now it's reading just under 0. which is just atmosphere. It's reading a little bit of vacuum, which is fine. It's relatively accurate, I find. And I got tuned to around 13.5 psi, tapering off to redline at around 10 psi, just due to my exhaust restriction. But recently, including at the track, I didn't see it go much above 5. It would go to kind of 7, 7.5, tapering off to 5. So I'm only running about half the psi, which instead of 350 is probably only around 250 horsepower, which is no good. So I'm going to show you guys today how I'm planning on fixing that. But quickly, while we're looking at the boost gauges here, sorry, just my oil pressure and my boost gauge. My AAM gauge has been here for a while. I just want to show you guys something cool. There's a trick you can do to wire it into your headlights so that the gauge is dim when you turn your headlights on, but I haven't set that up because I don't know where the switch is for the headlight. So what I did instead was wire it up to my cruise control button. So when you hit the cruise control button, the gauges get dimmer. It's really bright outside, so you can't see it right now, but it does work. Thought that was pretty cool. These are the glow shift gauges. They have 7 different colors, including like a rainbow transition color. That's this one right here. Pretty cool. I picked them up $100 for the pair, and I really like them. I find they're a lot more accurate than just your standard eBay ones, even though they're not really name brand gauges. Well, they kind of are. So anyway, sorry about the delay. Let's go find that boost leak. Here's my budget DIY boost leak tester. So essentially what you're trying to do is pressurize the turbo system with compressed air. And what that does is find any leaks in the intercooler piping, the intercooler itself, and your intake manifold if the throttle body is open. So what you do is take off your intake, and what I have here is, since my car has a 4-inch inlet turbocharger, I have a 4-inch end cap. This is just from a plumbing section at Home Depot, Canadian Tire, wherever you like to go to. And then I just threaded in a little NPT to barb connector, and then just ran some length of hose. I have some adapters here to make it a little easier. Pretty much just into a tire filler, going back to my air compressor. There's the K-site in the garage. But anyway, so I have about 50 psi of air in my air compressor. There's no need to run too much pressure. And then what you do is make sure that your boost controller, which I have mounted inside my car, you want to make sure that this guy is all the way closed. You can see that means fully counterclockwise, so that this doesn't bleed out any pressure. So with that closed, or if you have a electronic boost controller, just leave it alone. All you do is squeeze the trigger on your air gun and then listen for leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and put my camera in the engine bay, and we can listen for leaks together. So you can first of all see that my end cap is expanding, which means the system is pressurizing. And you can also hear from this area a little leak. Hopefully you guys can hear that. And anyway, after doing this by myself yesterday as well, I have narrowed the leak down to the throttle body, this gasket here. Since I have an RBC, an adapter, and an S90 throttle body, the gasket between the adapter and the S90 throttle body is bad. Here's the throttle body that I found was leaking. I actually found a few different spots where it was leaking. So the side facing us is the side with the throttle body. Then the ground would be kind of my intake manifold. So these ports are for your map sensor right here. This is for like your evap, I believe. And that one's for your idle air control valve. Then of course you have your mounting bolts, the gasket itself. So quite interestingly, right over here, you can see there's the indentation from my evap system. And you can see where this hole is cut out for the K-tuned adapter. Right there you can see that dark line. I'll admit my engine probably burns a little bit of oil from the turbo. So that right there is where the air was getting out. And there was a very similar spot right here. You can kind of understand why. Look how close that indentation is to the edge of the gasket. which is just crazy to me. Like, there's barely any material there. So quite obviously it blew through there as well. And the rest looks okay. You can kind of see that same charcoal mark, but this time it's contained within the gasket, which means it wasn't going to leak. So I clearly knew that this was the culprit of my boost leak. So this gasket on the left is the old gasket, and I actually did some research, and turns out that you have to buy this specialty gasket. You can't just go look for an RSX Type S gasket or something. This one's quite unique for some reason for the S90 throttle body, potentially because of the big hole in the middle. I'm not too sure. But I didn't have time to wait, nor did I want to pay for a specialty gasket. So what I did was I got this rubber fiber sheet. This is made by Felpro. This is called like gasket material. It's just literally a roll of gasket material. They're saying for stuff like timing cover, fuel pump mounting, diff cover, distributor base for sealing oil, water, or gasoline. So even though it doesn't say intake manifolds or air, I read a lot of reviews, and some people have used this for even head gaskets on lawnmowers and stuff. So all I did was place this on top of a sheet, traced it out, used a knife to cut it out, and as you can see here, it's not beautiful, but it is for sure a brand new gasket. For all my Canadian friends, I found this at Napa up here in Canada, and this whole roll was less than $20 after tax. I believe if you live in the States, you can buy it pretty much anywhere for like 10 bucks, but that's pretty impressive for anyone up in Canada. So now I'm going to go ahead and install this gasket, and we'll do the boost pressure leak test again. Just finished installing the throttle body gasket. You can see it's the fairly thick one right there, and now we're going to go ahead and try a pressure test again. Go ahead and listen by the throttle body. So you can see there's no more hissing noise. I'll do it one more time. No more hissing noises coming out of the throttle body. The only hissing noise is over here with my leaky pressure tester. It's kind of just leaking out that bad seal right there. But this thing still worked to help find my throttle body leak. And one more thing I'd like to say about when you pressure test your vehicle, I like to crack open the oil fill cap. I'm going to close it now before I forget, but that just releases any pressure, kind of like your crankcase ventilation. And also last night when I did this, I heard like a bubbling noise, whether it be coolant or oil, kind of was bubbling in my engine while I was pressure testing. Obviously I was freaked out because I thought the air was getting through my head gasket and boiling my coolant or my water, but looked it up, and apparently that's completely normal, so nothing to be worried about. So now I'm going to go ahead and take off my pressure tester, put on my intake, plug in all my sensors. Let's fire it up and see if I fixed the issue. So here we are at idle, and it looks like we're doing okay. My vacuum gauge is right around -20 on this gauge, which is about right for idle. We're idling around 1800 RPMs, and it's cold. As you can see, my engine's nice and cold, so that's not bad. And just for fun, there's my oil pressure, not bad as well. Sometimes it's a little higher when it's cold, but maybe it's because the load is so heavy as well. But no, it seems like everything's working as it should. I'm gonna let it fully warm up. I'm gonna keep watching everything, and then we'll take it for a test drive and see if we can make over 5 pounds of boost. Hey guys, so long story short, the throttle body fix did not fix my Civic, and so I went on a test drive. Clearly saw no difference. It was hitting 6-7 pounds maybe, then tapering off to 5. So what I did next was took my boost line off of my going to my wastegate, this boost line right here, and essentially I disconnected it from my wastegate, meaning that my wastegate is fully closed all the time. Then I took it for another drive, and it just spiked right up to probably almost 15 psi, which told me that my wastegate was not the issue or any exhaust stuff. I knew it was something to do with the boost controller, and I definitely found it. As some of you may know, my boost controller right here used to be mounted inside the car, and the long hose to run it kind of behind my turbo and into the engine, a lot of it was this small 3/16 fuel line, and then a very little bit of it was this clear hose, which came with the boost controller, and I should have known better not to use it, but I did anyway. And as you can see here, there is a small section of hose that must have got a little too hot and kind of crimped in a 90. So if you don't know what a boost controller does, it basically bleeds off pressure between your compressor pipes and your wastegate. So if you have a 7-pound spring, you can run 10 psi by tricking it that it's only running 7 psi by bleeding off the pressure. So with my turbo controller open full max, that is the size of the bleed that it would have. But unfortunately, let me try and grab it here. Unfortunately, with the crimp, that is how much it could bleed off maximum, which was only, I guess, around 5 psi. So what I did was I moved it into the engine bay. You can see I have the check valve going to the wastegate, arrow points to the wastegate, and then going to my boost controller. I have now set my boost controller on what my tuner set it at to make 13 psi, and let's go for one more test drive. Alright, so as you might have been able to see in that really quick little driving clip, I spiked in that clip to just over 10 psi, then it tapered off to around 7. The only reason for that was because it's raining again out here where I live, so I wasn't able to get full traction and build like full load on my motor. And I tested it yesterday in the dry as well, didn't film it though, and it went right up to around 13 psi, tapered off to around 10, which is what I was tuned for, and I wasn't too sure how accurate my gauge was, so I also data logged it on K-Pro. Turned out good as well with very similar numbers, which also shows me that my glow shift boost gauge is accurate, which is always nice. So that's going to finish off today's video with the Honda Civic. A little bit of everything in there for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, maybe learned a little bit. And as for right now, the Civic build is done. I'm going to start to do some restoration stuff as it has 406,000 kilometers on the chassis anyway, so it could use a bit of rust repair, some new carpet, stuff like that. Let me know if you guys want to see that or what else you guys want to see in the comments down below. And anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.